Hello everybody and welcome to our first writing workshop. So in our writing workshop, I'm just going to answer any misconceptions I'm noticing in your writing exercises from our exit tickets. Today's focus will be on thesis statements as well as SAQ'S, since that's what we were working on in our exit tickets this week. So just a reminder about thesis statements. Your thesis statements are always going to be present in your DBQs and LEQs. They will not be in SAQs because SAQs are just short answer questions that get straight to the point, so you don't need a thesis. You should include improper nouns, meaning you should include specific terms like the Civil War, the 14th Amendment, Metacom's War, etc. Specific terms that you learned in class, vocabulary words essentially. You also want to address specific time periods or events. Usually the time periods will be present in your prompt, so you're just restating that time period. And then you're answering the prompt with the historically defensible claim, so something that you're going to be able to prove later on in your essay using facts. Now on to short answer questions. So for short answer questions, you're always going to receive a stimulus-based short answer question as well as a non-stimulus-based one. This week you worked on both in your exit ticket from August 31st as well as the one from September 2nd. So you will be revising both of those. A stimulus-based one is simply one where you receive some type of source or reading that helps you answer the question or something where you need to respond to. Some reminders about SAQs. Make sure you're labeling each task. So wherever you're responding to A, B, or C, you need to be clearly indicating that. Your response to each task should be more than 2 sentences. So a response that's only 1 or 2 sentences is not enough. You need to provide detail, and I can't imagine y'all being able to do that in just 1 sentence. So make sure it's at least 3 to 6 sentences. I'd say 5 is a good amount for each task. Again, like thesis statements, you want to use proper nouns in your SAQ. This is like how you earn a point, by identifying specific things you learned in history. So an SAQ response should not be missing a proper noun. If it is, then it just sounds like an idea you came up with. But when you connect it back to that proper noun, that's being used as proof. And then you want to be detailed and get straight to the point. So one task should not be like 15 sentences. That'll take you way too long, and then you're taking time away from the other tasks that you need to complete. So again, if you're someone who likes to write a lot, try to condense and try to be detailed, but in like 5 sentences, 8 sentences max for each task. Okay, so I'm going to go over model responses with y'all from your classmates, and then I'll send you off to complete your revisions. So I have Shauna's response to our non-stimulus-based SAQ from earlier this week. So some great things that she did was she labeled each task. You can see that each task is about 3 to 5 sentences. She also included proper nouns like smallpox, like the Pueblo Revolt. She included dates, and she made sure to connect each of these back to the task. We can't see the questions right here, but this is from exit ticket 8, August 31st. And you can also see how when she's providing these examples, she's also explaining what they were and how they connect back to her task. And this task, particularly for C, was asking how Native Americans resisted to change. I'm fumbling on my words, y'all. So she brought up the example of the Pueblo Revolt, explained what it was, and explained how that was an act of resistance. For a stimulus-based response, we have Daniela's. This is like the perfect example of straight to the point, short and sweet, right? Where literally this response is only 2 sentences, and I know I said that 2 sentences might not be enough, but this is where 2 sentences is enough because she was extremely detailed. Where she said, one development in the excerpt is the event of the French having influenced Native American tribes to be provided with economic advantages. The French created religious missions that formed good relations and trade connections with native tribes such as the Iroquois. She brought up the Iroquois, proper noun. Although religious missions aren't necessarily a proper noun, that is a specific detail that you learned in history. So she would earn that point for that, and she's literally getting straight to the point. As well as down here where she brings up Canada and the French Iroquois, like it was brought up in the source. And then lastly, an example for thesis statements. We have Caesar's. And this thesis statement was excellent. He followed the exact protocol that was asked of him, where he identified one similarity, he identified a difference, he brought up the significance, so overall, which did he think was more important? So he said overall the differences were more important, and he explained why. His explanation was amazing. So in thesis statements, whether it's a CCOT, so continuity and change over time, or a comparison thesis, you want to make sure that you're following all these steps. Your thesis statement should be about 3 sentences max. Or I'm sorry, 3 sentences minimum. 2 sentences if you can just really get detailed in those 2 sentences. Okay? So throughout this video, if you want to stop to just read their responses, definitely do so, but please don't copy what they wrote. And then as you make your revisions, keep in mind all of the tips that I pointed out today. So your next steps are to open the following exit tickets. So your exit ticket for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Make sure to look at the feedback that I gave you within that exit ticket on the rubrics. And then revise these exit tickets not only with the feedback that I gave you, but what you learned from this video.